Hi, welcome and namaste to the Yoga Out of the Box podcast. My name is Marvin. I'm a yoga teacher, and in this podcast, we aim to free yoga from all its cliches, free it from all its boxes, and to showcase that yoga can be a modern lifestyle today. And it gives us a lot of tools with a lot of answers for a lot of questions out of our modern times. And that's why we have each week a new super interesting episode for you with yoga teachers and practitioners from all over the world with different approaches to yoga, with different ideas about yoga, with different private back journeys into yoga. And this week we talk with Morane, which is one part of Acro, and we talk, like the name already suggests, about the topic of Acro yoga. And I'm personally a big fan of Acro yoga. I love to do it everywhere I go. I find a kind of community for that in Sri Lanka, in Brazil, here in Europe, in Barcelona. Really, really nice jam if you haven't been there yet. I really enjoy the community, I enjoy the kind of sporty aspect, I enjoy this sense of feeling you get from that. And today we dive a bit deeper into the topic of Acro yoga. What is Acro yoga? Why it has something to do with yoga in general. And yeah, Morane and her friend has made like one of the biggest platforms around Acro yoga. A really, really good page on Instagram and a coach where you can learn about Acro yoga. And so I reached out to them and I would like to talk about the topic because for them, Acro yoga has much more to do with yoga than in a lot of other sense. So if that's interesting for you, if you haven't tried it yet, or if you're just in general like, please stay on. And like always, please feel free to leave a good review on the podcast player of your trust and to share this episode if there's any value in there for you. And this really helps us out, as well as if you haven't yet, follow the podcast, even on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because the podcast episode get listened so often from so many people. But at the same time, not everybody is subscribed to the podcast, and just make sure to don't miss out on any upcoming episode. That would be great. So let's dive right into this amazing episode. Thanks, and yes, I'm Morana. How are you?
Hey, good, and you?
I'm really good. I'm really happy to have you here and to make it
Thank you.
work finally. We
Yeah,
were
that's
planning this
amazing.
for a while, and
Exactly.
we're always on the other side of the planet, so we had to
Yeah,
figure that out. But I'm happy
yeah.
that
Really happy to be here.
at least one part of you could manage
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I will
That's so
speak
great.
for the name of David as well.
Yeah. So for people who may not already know you and David from your project, could you shortly introduce yourself and give us like a
Sure.
backstory?
Yeah. We come from Switzerland, so the French part, so you can hear the accent maybe. And we regularly practice acro yoga, which is our passion. And yeah, I share this passion with him, David, and we started practicing about 3.5 years ago. And yeah, before discovering acro, I did many things, gymnastics, climbing, vinyasa yoga as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then now, yeah, acro gives me everything I like in sports, like challenge, pushing my limits, and it helps me become stronger and more flexible too. So yeah, we share this sport under the name Acro Loco on Instagram. We started to run this together because we wanted to share tutorials for the beginners as well, inspiration, and we still do it now. It's not our main activity, but we used to teach regular classes in Switzerland, and we travel since more than 1 year now.
Wow,
So
amazing.
that's a lot.
That's so
So
cool. Yeah.
we moved from Thailand, from the Philippines. Now we are in Bali, and we make back and forth between here in Bali and Koh Phangan, an island in Thailand, which is also amazing for acro. That's why we go there. We can practice almost every night with some new people on the beach.
Sand Beach.
So yeah, exactly. You know it. Yeah. No, it moved a bit because of storms, so we were practicing on the beaches next to lately.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, Zen Beach is still the main beach. Yeah.
Oh, so nice. Wow. When you
Yeah.
hear this, I wish I could be back there. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
For sure, I think you found the right place intuitively.
We didn't know when we arrived there. We were just
Really?
discovering. We wanted to go for the full moon, and
Yeah.
we didn't do acro since a long time, like 3 months, and we were like, we wanted to find a community, but we just arrived there and we saw so many people practicing on the beach. That was just a dream, and that's why we stayed longer, and we came back and back again. Yeah.
I think this is even the best thing about traveling. For me, it's the
Hmm.
same. When you find something out of like, okay, I'm looking for that, but I'm not really looking for that. And then you come
Yeah.
into this field of like finding really connection with community. And I think we will talk about this as
Hmm.
well, because Acro has like, I think this special aspect of finding community everywhere you go, at
Yeah.
least for me. So that's super, super interesting. So you already give us a good wrap up.
Hmm.
Let's dive a bit for the people who may have no idea what acro yoga really means or what it is or where it comes from. Because I think, and you already told me, yeah, acro yoga has even like a kind of different root, one what maybe a lot of people don't even know.
Yeah, yeah. Acro is like yoga, but non-traditional yoga that we practice in pairs, like two people or maybe groups sometimes, and which combines yoga but also acrobatics, like a bit of gymnastics and Thai massage. And yeah, people sometimes they think that we just invent new stuff and that we are just clown doing some posture on Instagram, but it's also like an old practice. The one of the father of Hatha Yoga invented it like around 90 years ago. So that's also an old practice. And he was also including acrobatics move, like acro yoga moves, for example, back bends with his son at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now we have more of there are different type of acro yoga. There is the lunar and solar. We practice with David more lunar and solar acro yoga, but lunar
Mm-hmm.
is more related to slow acro with slow moves, Thai massage, healing
And
benefits through the contact points with the flyer, for example. That's where it comes from. But now with the time and social media and with the also people from a circus joining and we're making this practice moving in the time, also people from America. So that's why now we have a different type of acro yoga and it's still moving. I see so many new moves. That's what I love about this discipline because every month we see new moves on social media, people inventing new stuff and it gets more and more acrobatic in a way with the time, I think, because less people are doing the lunar part of acro, but yeah, still.
so thanks for the wrap up. This is super interesting because I even didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm practicing acro yoga on and off. Everywhere I
Mm-hmm.
go, I try to find a jam.
Ah,
And I
nice.
think, like you said, it's always this feeling of if you
Mm-hmm.
see people doing it, okay, it's cool people and you have your kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, for
community and
sure.
you will stick in this place for a bit longer. That's a good
Yeah,
indication if the place is nice and the
yeah, that's
surrounding is cool. I find this really interesting because I didn't know that there are these two parts. I heard about this, but I wasn't aware of it. But it totally
mm-hmm.
makes sense for me. You already said you had also a background in acrobatics and stuff like this, so you had already like a kind of physical fitness level. Would you say
Yeah.
this is required for acro yoga if people now
No,
would like to try or start out with that?
no, not at all. What is interesting when we teach is to see that it's not the most athletic people, like couples, that are succeeding. And I love
Yeah.
this. So that's why I love this discipline because the couples that are communicating, sharing, and compensating, focusing on balance, especially, are
Mm-hmm.
succeeding much more than the people that are doing acrobatic or gymnastic before. But it can help at a certain level for sure when you do advanced tricks, for example, Icarians, which is when the base is propulsing the flyer in the air with no point of contact. That's what we do since we focus on this since a few months with David. And in this case, for sure, it can help to know how to do tuck position, like if you do salto, front tucks and stuff like this. If you
I
have
hope you
done it
know
before,
how
it can
this.
help.
I know and I hope you know how this sounds to people who have never done this, like
Yeah,
flying in the
I
air.
know, but no, but you can see the same move in gymnastic for a
Mm-hmm.
certain thing, but when you begin, you don't need to have this background. Yeah, we were teaching in Switzerland and in France, where people like doing gymnastic and also bodybuilding and how do you call it? Yeah, and different type of sports, and they were only using strength. And what is important to know is that there is a whole technique behind acro For example, a good example is doing a handstand on the floor. It's completely different with the
Yes.
balance and on doing on someone. And here in Bali, we meet so many masters of handstand, like doing one arm and stuff like this. And when
Mm-hmm.
they come on David, like
Acro.
and they want
Yeah.
to do the fly on David on a handstand, they need to
Mm-hmm.
adjust the balance because there are some of them are
It's a different.
completely lost. Yeah.
I, I think even in the handstand thing, it's like, so in my experience, like completely different on a person, because I think the flyer has to be most of the time like really, trust as well, the base. Like you said
Mm-hmm.
before, the communication
Yeah.
and this feeling of trust is so important. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you can be the best handstand trainer in the world if you don't know, because usually in handstand you have to adjust yourself like a lot with your balance and with your, and there you have mainly to trust, and the other person has to keep the balance for you,
Exactly.
which is so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. But I
And we
love the,
do it differently. Yeah, we
yeah,
on the floor you manage your balance with the hands and fingers.
yeah,
And on someone you need to when we do with a flyer which is not doing handstand on the floor, it's easier because she's just trust as you said and just relax and focus on body control. But people doing on the floor, they want to
yeah.
control, and we need to let a bit the base control the balance and let it go in a way. So yeah,
So this is
it's
already a
another
great tip.
technique.
I
Yeah.
will take for the next time.
Yeah, you can do with a flyer which have no background in hand to in
So what I really like about this practice, or what I think comes out a lot from what you're saying as well, is this part of creativity. There's so much new
hmm
stuff coming, and you can explore so much stuff. How was it for you when you started out trying acro yoga? Um, what would you say? Is it like a steep curve of learning, or do you think the people need more time?
yeah, the beginning we like seeing people progress because it's same when we just started. You want to do you doing many new stuff and you start with the basics, so you learn really fast. And
Mm-hmm.
after a while, yeah. Also, one more thing, when you do a trick for the first time, you often have with acro beginner's luck. Maybe you want to do it, so you do it together and it works and you're like, wow, that's amazing, I can do it. But no, you cannot. It happened to us with David with the first session. We can master the thing. We can do the thing, but then the next weeks we try again and we're like, no, it's not working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And then that's when the learning progress started. So you need to understand, if I do the tempo like this, how do you react? If you fall, how do you do? If
Yeah,
we losing control, how we manage it. And that's when you become better and better. And that's a really hard time. Like, we were practicing during 2 years,
I
and
can imagine. Yeah.
to be better, we had to relearn everything, like slower. Also, we did the flows or Icarians really fast. So then you do it together and it's fast, but it's not controlled. And if you want to do it in control, you need to breathe together to do the right thing at the right time, having the perfect tempo. And we had to relearn for a few months to now being able to go back to the basics and being able to go up. So there is like fast going up first and then like a long way here and
Yeah.
then yeah.
But that's
Anyway.
interesting, because this is also really connected, I think, to yoga. In the beginning, you start out and you're like, oh yeah, that works.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite good. And
Yeah.
then the more you dive into it, you realize, okay, there's so much more to understand, and going deeper into the topic.
Yeah,
And at one
exactly.
point, you reconsider even like the simplest pose, and you're like, now I feel it completely different, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
completely different body feeling. That's interesting.
And also depend the day. Like we need to
Oh
accept
yeah.
the ups and downs. Some days we're just not connected at all, and we're like, no, we're not practicing today because it's not working, and it's okay. And we discuss with so many couples, and they have all the same problems. So now we
Mm-hmm.
just know, and instead of being frustrated, we still are, but we try to manage it and say, okay, maybe you were weak today, it's fine, or maybe it's just me, and we yeah. I would say what is important in Acro is like the share to understand is share control. You are not the only one in control. You need to be two, and the outcome depend
Depends on
on
both.
both. And sometimes we want to say, you're doing wrong, but it's both together all the times. Yeah.
But this is like, I think what differentiate like acro as well a lot from all other styles of yoga which are known to me, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
actually most yoga styles are you're just for yourself, but here you have to work with the perspective of a different
Mm-hmm.
person, right? I mean, even
Yeah.
if you're a couple for a while and you think your communication skills are good, you have to reconsider this completely in this process when you
Yeah.
have to figure stuff out together, and even when you're in the air or like on the ground. Was there anything which you would say a kind of obstacle on the way to learn this, or something you would say, okay, if I would start again, or if we would start again, we would try to avoid this or do this differently?
A lot of people say it's good because we are a couple, we can train all the time together. Yeah, as a couple is great because we can be consistent and yeah, having
Mm-hmm.
a consistent person to practice with. But it can also be frustrating because you want to succeed everything with your partner, and sometimes you can see that you are better with other people with certain moves, or the main point is compensating as a couple. If you practice all the time only together, you compensate each other's mistakes, and you cannot move on if you still keeping doing these mistakes. So for
Okay,
us
I get
now,
it.
it's
Yeah.
amazing to go with like to train with other people, because I'm doing with another base, for example, and I'm like, he's doing this with his toes, or he's pushing me that way, or he's keeping pressure doing that move, and it makes me, and then I adjust automatically, and then when I do it again on David, and it finally works, for example, or the opposite side.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that can be a point of doing, like, yeah, as a couple, like the challenge we can have sometimes. But it's also good because we can train a lot together, and we met a lot of people that are just frustrated because they want to find someone to practice with
Yeah.
regularly, especially to be better and better, to do advanced tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, we need to have trust, so you cannot do advanced trick with a new person that you don't even know. So you need to start the basics again. So we don't have
Yeah.
to do it with David. So that's a good point.
Makes
Also,
absolutely
yeah,
sense.
another challenge for us is identifying mistakes. Especially with the Icarians I was talking before, it's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to know who is doing the mistakes, or yeah, sometimes, yeah, so many times it's like a chain reaction. He's
Mm-hmm.
doing something, then I react, and then we both do wrong, and it's hard to do, like, to
Yeah.
progress and to know who did the mistake first, and how to change that. So that's a big challenge at the moment, for example.
Yeah, that makes absolutely sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the points. I think I see it in the jams mostly the same what you just described, that a lot of people, you're a base or you're a flyer, and then you're always depending to find somebody else who's free at the moment, and you need to
Yeah.
have the equal amount of flyers and the equal amount of leg bases, and it never turns
Mm-hmm.
out. Everyone wants most of the time in the few times I went, it was always like a lot more flyers, less
Yeah, yeah,
bases. And even then, like you said, to get this feeling and to get over this certain kind of point of base level of typical things you can do, to
Mm-hmm.
get to this stuff which is like cool and really like fancy, I think it
Yeah.
needs a lot of time. But so I found you, by the way, because
Mm-hmm.
I really love the content you both are doing. You do it in a super
Thank you.
high quality. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, we will link it below for sure.
Thank you so
Because your
much.
tutorials are like really really nice. So when do you started to learn acro yoga? Do you went also to jams, or did you both decide, okay, we saw this, we want to do it, or do you find teachers in the place where you're from? Because I think again, I managed to find like nearby everywhere I go like a jam, but I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't have even the awareness that there are so many jams or so many classes around already, right? Because it has an old root, but I think it's still a newer thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I discovered Acro actually 6 years ago in Bali, and I fell in love with it. When I came back to Switzerland, I was like, I want to find a teacher or a class, but I was not finding a good one, like to learn the basics. And I didn't want to start by jam because I was, I couldn't do anything. So I wanted to have a teacher. And at some point, like a few years later, we found a new class, a new school that was opening. And our teacher, yeah, the teacher was here for a few weeks, months, and we just slowly built like a community. And at some point he said, I cannot teach anymore. So we had no more teacher. And we were like already in love with this practice. We were seeing each other every week and we're like, no, we want to continue. And that's when we started teaching because we were practicing a lot with David on the side, and we were like, okay, maybe we can do like intense training with the teacher, and then begin by like teach for this community. And it was we were learning by doing because it was hard at the beginning. Like the main point was to be better as the students that begin at the same time as us. So we were practicing a lot on the side. And yeah, I think when people have the basics, then it's more fun to go to the jam. In
For sure.
Kopangan, for example, is we don't teach, but every evening we were introducing people to Acro, and it was on the sand, fun, and really, it's when you are more in Europe and you go in a park or somewhere and you don't have any basics, it's hard to really enjoy practicing. So I would recommend to do like maybe a few, like understand the discipline, the rules, and that there is a base, a flyer, spotter, that like the person on the side which is helping in case of fall, and just have the basics and then start jamming. Yeah, now at a certain level, we love jamming because we can do whatever we we want, and just
Yeah.
if we want to do beginner stuff together, we do beginner stuff. If we want to do flows or Icarians, we can choose, and we benefit from each other's. Yeah.
Knowledge. Yeah. But this is, I think, a super valuable advice for sure. If you would have to introduce somebody into acro yoga completely newly,
Mm-hmm.
you already mentioned some important words, some basic stuff. What would you suggest is like the best starting point for them to?
Join a community. It's such an amazing experience. You need to start. Yeah, you don't need to start it with
Mm-hmm.
a partner. Some people say I'm alone. Yeah, just come and connect with other. I don't know any community that don't welcome people
Yeah,
alone.
true.
People can reach out to us on Instagram. We have so many requests of people like in a different community in the world, like asking if, that they are looking for a community near them, and
Mm-hmm.
we always give them the link for to connect with those people on Facebook first, and then often they have a WhatsApp group, and they can, yeah. So yeah, it's the best
I
way
think
to learn.
I think the community aspect as well is something which is like really, really special about acro yoga. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think it doesn't matter where you really go, you always find like this vibe of people. The people are already interested in working with their bodies. They're most of the time open. And even like you always, like you said, you shouldn't be afraid in the beginning to like just
Mm-hmm.
enter, even if you're maybe not an expert. Because think this holds a lot of people back as well, right? And this can make it like even for you difficult as a teacher. Like, how do you try to make the people confident in what they are doing? Because in the beginning, I think
Yeah.
nobody is confident in like being on the feet, like flying in the air,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, we say like, yeah, when you connect with the community, then it's nice, as I said, to learn the basics. I always say don't skip the basics. Use a spotter, someone who helps in case of falls, because we always practice like this for the first time. When we learn a new trick, you see it on Instagram or somewhere and you're like, oh, it's easy, but it's not. And then you need someone to help and then understand, and then be sure that the base or the flyer is acting good if something goes wrong. And I think that's the best way to learn. Yeah, we also offer pillows for the back of the base to release back pain. And also it's good when you do
Yeah,
cups or Icarians, you have more control. And also
good
it's also
recommendation.
good
Yeah.
for Yeah, it's also good for the flexibility. It can help. Look, at a certain level, you see a lot of face with pillow. It's a special one with an
Even a
angle.
good at even if you're in a city and you are not sure if there's acro yoga and you see somebody with a pillow on his back,
Yeah,
like
you know that
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
real one.
Now you guys know if it's a like triangle,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
for
yeah.
acro.
Exactly. And it's same as in yoga. It's not because you need for your flexibility. It's something that yeah, that it's good for the practice, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone is using it.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes sense. I had some really pain when I was spacing at one point. I did without because like I said, I really
Yeah.
like this aspect of having this part of creativity, and I come from an Ashtanga yoga background. So my
Mm-hmm.
normal practice is really structured, and that is really the difference of like what people would describe creative, because
Yeah.
it's always the same. And so for me, it's so fun to go into the whole other thing, and just explore and have this part of because for me the community and the creativity in acro is something you don't find so often in other things.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what. If you see the whole movement of acro yoga nowadays, you already said you now go to some of the maybe best places or most fancy places to practice, and you see more and more people are interested in the topic. How do you think is acro yoga moving in the future? What are the next few years in acro?
That's a good question. I haven't been, I think in South America, people are crazy, especially in Argentina. I saw so
Yes.
many good bays and flyers. I really want to go there to see that one day. But yeah, I see more and more people, as I said, inventing new stuff, doing more and more crazy stuff as well. Like sometimes I spend a lot of time on Instagram just seeing things that are
Inspiration.
crazy, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, we want to do this as well. We go in this direction as well because since a year now, we were less focusing on flows and more on gymnastic thing in a way. And I think it goes in this direction, more gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
circle, more related to circles and things. Yeah, we can see here in Bali, so many people go to the class. Sometimes there are like 30, 40 people. It's not our class because we are not allowed to work here, but we go to those classes as well, like open level class, and yeah, we see so many people being interested, and I think, yeah, I really think like people will do that more and more because we were practicing in parks like 1 year ago in France and Switzerland, and people didn't know what it was really. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
"What are you doing? What is this?" And yeah, I think now when we see people, it's maybe because it's Bali for sure, or
Yeah.
Asia. They often know when we contact the yoga studio and stuff. They are, yeah, Acro, that's nice. But,
And I
yeah, it was
think these are
already
the
well
hubs,
known.
right?
Sorry.
I think Bali is already like a good indication. If people start doing something there,
Yeah, yeah,
most of the time
yeah.
it comes to every other place really soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe as you said, like in Europe, you have so many flyers and not so many bases. And here it's the opposite. Like so many men are doing acro. I love it because yeah, they see it as a sport. They love also the connection, yeah, the everything, all the benefits that acro has, and I really like it. I feel that many men in Europe are more like, yoga, it's for women or stuff like this.
Yeah,
So I
it's
don't,
still a typical
yeah,
box.
still a bit. And here I love it because, like also the people in the gym that we meet, they're like, can I try on you
Yeah,
this and this?
so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's so cool. Even if they don't
yeah.
know, they want to try, and they
Hmm.
often do with David because he has more strength than me, so it's helping with big
True.
bases.
Yeah,
But that's how, like, almost every night we meet some new people and new people trying these disciplines. I feel like
amazing.
in my world that people are getting more interested in acro. Yeah,
So I hope you can bring this as well to Europe for
yeah, it
sure.
would be amazing. I think
There's
also now in Europe is getting, yeah, we
yeah.
I guess.
I think I see it the same. The last 2 years, it gets more and more to my mind of awareness. I was living in Barcelona, and there's a
Yeah,
great jam and great people. And like you said, I had to laugh a bit because the most amazing people are always from Argentina, and I'm like, what the fuck? And if you go there, I don't see so many people in Buenos Aires
Ah, yeah.
doing like Acro. And yeah, I was wondering where's this coming from, but it's interesting.
Barcelona is one of the biggest community, I think. Barcelona
Yeah, for
and
sure, for sure.
yeah.
Depends
So
also on the weather, maybe. In
yeah,
Switzerland or in Germany, the
for
weather is
sure.
maybe not always perfect to be outside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
but
makes
Germany
more
you
fun
also
as
have
well.
big communities, I think. I've never been, but I've heard
I
people
hear
are
a
really
lot of
advanced.
workshops. Yeah, so that's super interesting. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Moran, thank you so much for all this insight,
Yeah, thank
for
you.
all this perspective onto a completely, let's say, not typical field of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
If people now would like to know more about you and David and would like to get in contact with you, what is the best way to reach out to
And they can send us a message on Instagram. We answer every day, so that's the best way. We
you?
also
That's
have a
true.
website, acroloco.com, and we sell beginner guides as well because some people don't have any community near them. So we want those people that can also learn the basics of acro. And we did a whole online training, like these guides. We put everything together, everything that we know, all the basics, all the poses, so they can also see that on our website and yeah, Instagram and website. It's the best, of course. Yeah.
That's great. I will
And
link
they can
everything below.
also, yeah, if they follow us, we share free tutorials really often and inspiration. So I think it can help people progress, I hope, yeah, on their
I
own.
definitely think so. In the beginning, it's like super important to have this kind of
Mm-hmm.
fundamentals, and it gives you more security to go to jams in your region, maybe.
Exactly.
And I
Not
think
one
there's
or
the
the
juice.
other, both.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, having
Okay,
the basics and
thank you so
also
much.
go to jam.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank
Wish you a
you.
great day and hope to talk to
You
you soon.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.